Hello and welcome to the Girl That Went For It podcast. I'm your host, Johanna Scholz, also known as Johanna Liana on Instagram, and author of Believe in Life, How to Dance in the Rain. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, Johanna_Liana, for daily content. And now enjoy this episode. You wouldn't believe what just happened. I was talking for 20 minutes and I didn't hit the record button. I know that this was meant for a reason, but I'm also really sad right now. But anyway, welcome back to this episode. Today, I want to talk about you, as always. I want to talk about you, the person you want to become, the person you want to be. And today is all about what other people may or may not think about you. So if you are an overthinker and you overthink about like what other people think about you, may think about you, might not think about you, whatever it is, this episode is for you. I just double checked that I hit the record button. What I want to say at the start is, have you ever thought about that every person that you've ever met has a different version of you in their mind? Like we have versions of our friends, of people that we met in the past in our mind. And none of these versions are truly who you are. Because some people might have met you when you were going through a hard time, when you were like maybe really down, and that's then how they have you in their memory. Some people might have met you when you were in your party phase and were drinking every weekend 5 years ago or whatever, and that's how they have you saved in their memory. Some people might have met you just last week and you had an amazing day and you were so happy, and people have you in their mind as that like sunshine and happy person. Every person you've met along the way that still thinks of like has a different version of you in their mind. Like I have different versions of my friends, and they again then have different versions of their friends and me, and so on and so forth. Have you ever thought about that? And that's why it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to always try to please everyone, because the thing is, people will see you how they want to see you, based on their experiences, based on their decisions, based on their beliefs, based on their limiting beliefs, based on how they see the world. Funny thing is, I talked about this with a friend the other day, how as girls, I don't know if guys are the same, but us girls often don't like the exes of our partners. And they didn't even do anything to us. We have never spoken to them, but for some reason, we tend to not like them. And I decided a while ago that I don't want to be that person, because that person did not do anything wrong to me. And actually quite nice they broke up, because now I have the love of my life. Because that's how I met the love of my life, because they were not together anymore and we met at the perfect time and so on and so forth. So I should be thankful. But isn't it weird like how we for some reason don't like, it's probably because it says my ex, so there's still this my attached, so it feels like there's still a part of them. I talked about this with a friend the other day. But anyway, what I want to say here is that often we have like those pictures and versions of these people in our head, but we actually don't really know them. And also like all the people you've met along the way have a version of you in their head, and it's probably 90% not truly who you are, especially the people that you met briefly. So here's just a little reminder to stop overthinking. Not that this starts making you overthink, but stop overthinking of trying to please everyone, because everyone will have a different version of you and everyone will have their reality created of you, and it doesn't make sense for you to waste time to trying to please everyone. What you can do though is showing up as your most authentic self, showing up as the person that you want to be, showing up as your higher self, the person you want to be in the future, and showing up for your younger self, being your most authentic self, being the person you always wanted to be. And the people that love you will see you as that. The people you spend most of your time with, like the 5 people in your circle, will see the real you. And that's what matters the most. Everyone else that knows different versions of you, I'm not saying they don't matter. What I'm trying to say is none of these versions none of these versions, but then also again, all of these versions are kind of you, but also not, because that's how they see the world, how they see people based on their beliefs, based on their experiences. So it just doesn't make sense trying to please everyone, because we can't look in other people's head. We can't look into what they've been going through on that day and that week and that year, how they see certain things, and so on and so forth. So this is your gently reminder to stop overthinking, because you can't please everyone. And also, I said this in one of my group coachings, and I know that it stuck with 2 of my students, and it was, you are not that important. And this sounds a bit harsh, but it was about like quitting your job or something and worrying about what other people might think about you. And here's the thing, people might think about you or think about the situation, you quitting your job, if anyone thinks about that, for a minute, or maybe for 20 minutes out of their day, or maybe for the lunch break, they talk about, oh, she's gonna quit her job or whatever it is, and then they move on with their lives, and then they have their own problems, and you're not center of their life. Just simple, you're not that important, but you are important to you, to yourself, to your life. You're the most important person in your life, and it is so important that you make decisions based on what you want and not what other people want, and not making decisions based on what other people might think about you. I remember one of my friends, must have been a few years ago, but she didn't want to quit her job because she just started it 3 months ago, and she knew that this wasn't the right job for her, but she didn't want to quit the job because she felt bad, because she didn't want to disappoint the people at the company. And I'm just like, you know deep down that this is not the right job for you. You have the freedom to apply for new jobs, like nothing is holding you back. Then your limiting beliefs and wondering about what other people may think about you. But honestly, it is your life. If you stay in this job for a whole year, you first of all are losing time. You still have to quit after a year, because if you don't want this job forever, so people will still talk about you then, if that's something that you're worried about. So like, you're actually making it harder for you for, firstly, not being true to yourself, and secondly, sticking to something that you don't really enjoy, and then you still have to go through that. Or you stay in that job forever and you actually don't like it. So stop thinking about what other people may think about you. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help anyone. Show up as your true, authentic self. Show up as yourself. Show up as who you want to be. So this is your little reminder for the day. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and talk soon.